Please welcome Lucy Miller.
I love that these lights are bright and I can literally see none of you. And I'm short, so we're going to move this, because we all know I'm going to talk with my hands. Well, you know, and they know, but it's going to happen. But I'm really excited to be making my comedy debut tonight. My name is Lucy Miller, and I feel like I'm crossing another badge off my New Yorker list as a New Yorker transplant by attempting stand-up comedy in New York City, in a city where literally any street corner counts as an open mic night. So this is great. But like every New York transplant, I left my small hometown because I felt completely and utterly misunderstood because I grew up Jewish in New Hampshire, where I was one of 7 Jewish kids in my high school, and we were doing pretty good because we were at least 6 ahead of all the black kids. But then I got to college, and well, growing up, actually, we had 2 synagogues in my hometown, and we left the first one when I was very young. And the second one was new because they finally had enough people for a second one, but we had no building and no land. So we did what any good Jewish congregation does, and we rented from a church. And every weekend we would take turns hanging the Tree of Life banner over the crucifix and folding up the kneelers and pretending none of this was happening. And when that didn't work out, because we got a second rabbi who didn't get along with my father, who at the time was vice president of the congregation, and my bubby was very proud. But when that didn't work out, we stepped away and we had nowhere else to go because we were Jews in New Hampshire. And what we learned was, very quickly, I learned what it meant to be a Hebrew school dropout. The rest of us learned what it meant to be wandering Jews. And I very quickly embraced the idea of marrying into Christmas. The options were, shall we say, limited. But then I got to college, and I went to Syracuse, which is, everyone there would refer to it as, was Jew-U. So I was moving up in the world, and my grandmother was very excited when I found Hillel and started going to services on Friday night because I made friends. And she started calling me her born-again Jew as if it was a compliment, which was great, Bubby. Thanks for that. But then she got really excited because I was like going to high holiday services and things, and she started sending me things from her favorite catalog, because when you grow up a little bit chubby, Grandma doesn't send you cookies. She sends you things from her favorite catalog, the source for everything Jewish. And she did. I came home one day from my dorm to a t-shirt that just said high five, and I was like, oh, what am I supposed to do with this, you guys? Like, I can't wear it on campus because it's the end of any social life I've ever had. But that didn't work out. But now I live in Westchester County, so we're moving up in the world. But I've accepted that living in Westchester County with a name like Miller and not Finkelberg or Tannenbaum, that I'm really never going to be Jewish enough. It's a spectrum, I think. So a few weeks ago, I'm in the Stop and Shop in Port Chester, which Port Chester is great for Westchester, but still not great for Jews. But they put out all this Passover stuff, and every year I'm blown away, because growing up in New Hampshire, they put out a bridge table, and that was it. When that was gone, you were shit out of luck till next year. And so I'm overwhelmed by the selection. Like, what am I going to do with all of this? They have 17 different kinds of matzah, and obviously you get the high fiber, right? But it's Passover, guys, that stuff sticks with you. But I'm overwhelmed by all of the selection, because I'm like, my mother had to explain to the butcher what a brisket was, and now I have a half an aisle. Whew. So there I am standing there trying to decide, like, which matzah do I get, but we already know I got the high fiber. So I'm standing there and I feel like people hovering around me, and I'm thinking, am I just taking too long to decide? Like, is this my fault? But what I realize is we're all in the same boat, because it's early, Passover is still a few weeks away, so we can buy our matzah now and embrace the shame that's going to come from what happens when you bring matzah into your house when you still have bagels on the counter. they're not supposed to mix. So there's that. But then you also can see other people laying the other half of the spectrum, which is, what if the price drops and it goes on sale and I bought this too early? So I'm standing there with my fellow people as we all face this undying conundrum, and I start looking around and I notice this display. Do any of you guys have grocery stores with the commercialized Passover products now? Because let me tell you, my mind was blown when I discovered the things to keep your kids happy while telling them they can't have their favorite cereal every morning for 8 days. So they have the can of plagues, like you do, but then they also have the matzah locust tic-tac-toe. I'm not sure I get it, but someone bought it. But my favorite, my absolute favorite, was the Passover temporary tattoos. Because nothing says go fuck yourself, Bubby, like the bowl of matzo ball soup on your shoulder. But what I really want to know about those temporary tattoos is the guilt temporary? Like, does that come off in 2 weeks? Because I'm 32 and still working at it, and that was without temporary tattoos. But anyway, so I want to say I'm really glad. So that was my Passover experience, but I'm really glad I made it up here tonight. I'm super thankful for this curtain that allowed me to like make my way up here without having to walk through all of you, because undoubtedly drinks would have spilled, I would have tripped. It's kind of just who I am as a person. Like, I'm monumentally clumsy, and so like this path was perfect for me. No, like monumentally clumsy. Like, once had to move 3 tables in a restaurant because I spilled 3 drinks in 10 minutes. Clumsy. Like, once fell out of a bus on a field trip to the opera. Clumsy. Like, once fell down the stairs, 4 stairs, all 4 of them, because my friend yelled my name from a window outside our college dorm and I got distracted and leveled myself. But no, like once slid down a hill in Paris while watching a group of dancers take photos while leaping and landing perfectly, but now I'm covered in mud because I slid down the hill because this jackass made the decision to wear Converse the day after it rained and walk across grass like an idiot. Clumsy. But anyway, enough about that. But it's a miracle I made it up here. I sprained my ankle a few weeks ago because all I wanted to do was get from Grand Central on 42nd Street to a cab on 5th Avenue, but that was just asking too much. And realistically, I should have seen this coming, because while all of those stories are great, they're like all in my adulthood, but let it be known, this started young. Like, young. I was in 4th grade. I'd already broken my leg once at 6, so let's not pretend that this is the first time this happened, but we had ski club, because New Hampshire, where all the kids could get out of school a little bit early and go to a ski run on a Friday afternoon. And in 4th grade, I didn't think anything of it, because let me tell you, the Millers are an indoor family between November and April. Winter sports are not for us, if you haven't picked up on that already. So all I wanted to do was like, I sat there all 4th grade while all of my friends left, and I can feel my social currency slipping away as lifelong friendships are formed on the ski slopes. So come 5th grade, I asked my mother, Mom, can I join ski club? And here I am, she paused. And then here I am thinking, she's thinking about the expense, because I have a younger sister, she's thinking about the juggling of the family schedules. No, what she says to me is, Lucy Ann, you cannot walk down a sidewalk with no obstacles in your way on a bright sunny day with nothing in your path. Do you actually think I am sending you down a mountain on 2 pieces of waxed wood? She went, I might as well have the paramedics waiting for you at the bottom. I was like, all right, so now come Monday morning, all the kids are going to be there with their ski tag, and I'm going to have my health insurance card deemed monumentally clumsy, do not engage in winter activities. But so now, here it is, it wasn't a Tuesday, it was a Thursday, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky, but all I had to do was make it 2 blocks. I could do that, except I had worn a new pair of shoes. And they weren't totally broken in yet, so I'm calling that the X factor. I had to go 2 blocks. I could do it. I was running late for a meeting, but I could do it. All I needed was a cab. But no, I find myself engaged in a human obstacle course, also known as the 2 little old ladies with walkers and the 2 tourists walking at me. Asking a lot, right? So I try to sidestep the 2 little biddies and get out of the way of the tourists before everyone collides and it's all my fault. But no, this smartass in her new shoes takes 1 bad step, rolls. I come to clotheslined on 42nd Street, having bounced off what I can only imagine was the pole to the taxi stand, and am now being, like, the little old ladies I was trying to avoid are now like, are you okay? Embarrassed. My ankle is giant, but I'll be fine. I've done it before. I'll do it again. But so not killing the game when it comes to coordination and things like that, but I've been in New York for a while now, and I've started to think about like how I fit into my family because they're still all up in New Hampshire, and what I've come to realize is that I think I'm failing my parents. Not like in the way you're thinking, like rebellion and drugs and like move to New York City and like and totally running wild, because that's just not me, let's be real. I graduated with honors from high school and college. I waited till I was 25 to lose my virginity. Please, my parents, when I moved home after college, had to beg me to leave the house. They went, seriously, Lucy, there is no one you can call? Wouldn't parents kill for that? Like, I'm sitting in front of the TV causing 0 trouble. No, get out of the house so we can be people. The nerve. No, where I have failed my parents is that I had a responsibility, a self-appointed responsibility, let's be clear, to keep them current, like technology, fashion, culture. Like hip was asking a lot, so like current will do. And I thought I was doing okay when a few years ago they discovered reggaeton. I was like, all right. You know, and then we got to family weddings and my mom started requesting Usher and Danza Kuduro, and it was fun to watch, but also a little terrifying. Because my parents, my very white parents, like really white parents, like white Jews in New Hampshire parents, really thought they had this, because then a few years later they discovered Pitbull. At a time, they discovered Pitbull. Like at a time when every song on the radio was blank and Pitbull. And it was everything that we heard, and the next thing I knew, my parents had been to 8 Pitbull concerts. My father's license plate is Mr. 603. My mother knows the name of every single one of Pitbull's backup dancers. They're called the most bad ones, by the way, if you're wondering. And they think they can rap in Spanish. But really, what they kind of tap out at Dos Aguas, por favor, and Donde está el baño? So they're ready for the all-inclusive circuit in Mexico. You can watch for them there. But we were doing okay, and then my mother called me and she said, I need a new ringtone. No one uses ringtones anymore. Like, my phone hasn't made a noise in 5 years, and I'm on it constantly. She goes, I need a new ringtone. I'm tired of it being Fireball. And she goes, what's that song I like? Esposito? Is it Despacito, Mom? She goes, yeah, that's the one. I said, oh, okay. She goes, does that have a Z in it? Nope. So then a couple weeks later, we're in the car, and it comes on, and of course, my mother, the gangsta, because she's rolling deep now, turns it way up, and she goes, Lou, I have a question. It's never a good sign when she turns at the radio and then asks the question. She goes, when I'm gangsta, she goes, is it like this? She goes, or is it like this? I'm horrified now, but I want to see how this is going to play out. Like, I'm just waiting to see where it lands. She goes, or is it like this? I said, well, it's definitely not. So if you hadn't picked up on it by the ringtone question, she's not killing it in the technology game either, and my father's not far behind. Because a few weeks ago I was on a conference call and I needed to step out because the call was running over and it was the end of the day, and I had an appointment to get my eyebrows waxed. And so I said to her, I said, can I leave you here? Like, it's almost over, it's just running over, there's a few minutes left. I said, all you have to do is hit the red button when you hear all the beeps that it's over, it's being recorded, I don't have to say anything, it's on mute. You got this, Mom. She goes, yeah, I got it. I leave, I go get my eyebrows waxed, I come home, she's frantic. Lucy, I don't know what to do, it's been going, I won't stop, I can't get it to stop, I've been hitting the red button, it's just going, you're the only one on the call, all the beeps happened. Okay, Mom. Alright, let me fix it. So I go over and I look at the computer, and I scroll over to the red button, and go, and the call stops. And I look over at my mother, who's making the face of a toddler who is guilty, but it's sort of her signature move, which is just... She goes, it's not a touch screen. She said, you said hit the red button, not click the red button. And I looked at her and I went, Mom, when has this ever been a touch screen? No. Who did this to you? Who broke you? And then I realized it was me. I did this to her. I started and never finished, and this is all my fault. I'm Lucy Miller, that's my time.
Lucy Miller!